Wladimir Klitschko recently said that he would fight for another 10 years. He believes he can fight for another 10 years. And I have to say, I strongly disagree with that. I don't think Wladimir can last another 10 years. Well, I'll tell you how he could fight another 10 years. If he keeps fighting low-level opposition and the governing bodies allow Wladimir Klitschko to pick and choose who he fights. I don't think that's going to be the case at all. Now, for me, Wladimir Klitschko is a good champion, not a great champion. He's got a great jab, he's got a good right hand, and he's got some boxing skill, and he's pretty quick on his feet and quick with his hands for such a big guy. Ask David Haye. But Wladimir Klitschko has got no inside game whatsoever. So that's why when any fighter attacks Wladimir Klitschko, he holds and grabs him and panics. That's something that happens in every single fight Wladimir Klitschko has. He holds, he grabs, he leans on them, he pushes down on them. And because the Klitschko have got such a monopoly where they are in Germany, I truly believe that the refs allow Klitschko to get away with all the holding and the grabbing and the pulling down. Load of nonsense, an absolute load of nonsense. And even in the Povetkin fight, you know, let's be honest, I mean, that is not the sort of performance you want to be seen from your heavyweight champion of the world. So let's move on from that. I don't think Wladimir Klitschko as a fighter is getting better either. Now, Wladimir Klitschko is not dispatching of opponents with the sort of disdain and destructiveness that a heavyweight champion of the world is meant to do. He's not even doing it with any form of excitement in what he does. Later on in Lennox Lewis's career, Lennox was accused of being very safety first, and if you look later in his career, fights against Briggs, the way he destroyed Gallotta, the Michael Grant fight, the Holyfield fights were good, the Mike Tyson fight, you know. So coming to the end of Lennox's career, he, you know, the Shannon Briggs fight always comes to mind. He became a very exciting fighter and dispatching of all challenges that came his way, bar the Holyfield fight, of course, because Holyfield, as we know, is a great fighter and takes a great punch. So in 2 fights, Lewis can get rid of him. Now, the other point is, if you keep on fighting the sort of opposition that Wladimir Klitschko has been fighting, I've been thinking about this. If you keep fighting poor opposition or low-level opposition, is there not a possibility psychologically you could kind of delude yourself into believing or allowing yourself to fall into a false sense of security that everybody you fight is going to come with the mentality that they're not going to come to knock you out, or every fighter you're going to have is going to be lacking skill and talent? See, let's be honest, there are a lot of people out there that don't give Alex Leopai a chance against Wladimir Klitschko, but those same people are hoping upon hope that Leopai can land a punch and change the face of the heavyweight division. And that's honest. That's just being honest. It's not being a hater. It's just that, you know, you want to see a heavyweight champion that's destroying and knocking people out, and, you know, like the way Tyson used to do, you know, or give us great fights, but don't be holding, grabbing on, like, you know, and clinging for dear life. So, you know, and all this stuff about Wladimir, people think of Wladimir as one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. No, Vladimir's been down on the canvas. He's been stopped before, you know. Now Vitaly is a different animal. Vitaly would stand in front of you and he'd have a fight with you. Vitaly made his fights exciting and he looked to knock you out. Vitaly had a different mindset. I believe, in my opinion, Wladimir Klitschko is a very safety-first fighter, doesn't want to get hit, and panics anytime anybody rushes him. He panics. And I don't think he's improving as a fighter. And no disrespect to Jonathan Banks, I don't think Jonathan Banks can give Wladimir what it needs, what it takes to be the next level, to go to the next level. So I think we're seeing the best of Wladimir Klitschko now. All that can happen with Wladimir Klitschko is it's going to go on a downhill cycle for Wladimir Klitschko. So it might not necessarily be a fighter that's better than Wladimir Klitschko that beats him, but I truly believe complacency in the mind, and also, you know, the fact that I still don't believe he's got the greatest chin in the world. That's why a guy like Derek Chisora is too much of a danger for Wladimir Klitschko. I believe Wladimir Klitschko, he seems to want to control everything, and that's the impression I get of him. And I don't think he could deal with somebody who will come straight at him and throwing punches from day one and not really care about him or his antics. You know, so I feel a lot of these fighters are beaten when they come to the contract. I don't think it's got anything to do in the ring and fighting. I think they're beaten before they even get in the ring. You know, but these young heavyweights coming up, Tyson Fury, Derek Chisora, Mike Perez, Bryant Jennings, Deontay Wilder. Well, that's 5 I've mentioned there. And people are turning around saying, oh yeah, well, Klitschko's going to be around for another 10 years. Really? Really? I mean, these guys are going to come to fight Klitschko. They're going to come to want to beat him. They want to become heavyweight champion. They have ambitions to do these things. So, you know, I don't believe Wladimir Klitschko's going to last for another 10 years. I really don't. I don't think he's good enough. And I think that the younger crop of heavyweights won't stand for it. So unless he's going to keep on beating up on old guys and guys who are past it, who knows? And if he were to get knocked out by one of these guys who didn't really deserve to be in the ring with him, that I'll be very happy for as well. Not disrespectful to the champion. It's just a fact that, and it's not being a hater. It's just seeing the heavyweight division in such a poor state. You know, you want a champion that's going to, you know, take on all comers, and there's really no excuses. And Wladimir Klitschko is hiding out in Germany. He needs to get back to America and do us all a favour as a heavyweight champion and act and conduct yourself like a heavyweight champion in the ring and get out there and put on some career-defining fights. Because let's be honest, Wladimir Klitschko's career-defining fights would be what? David Haye, who is a cruiserweight that put on a few pounds and was a heavyweight, or Povetkin. Those were his career-defining fights. Come on, and you're going to call him a great heavyweight? A great heavyweight? Really? Really? I mean, at least Vitaly Klitschko had his great fight, big fight against Lennox Lewis. You know, and that was a real fight. You could read a real fight, back and forth. When's the last time you seen Wladimir Klitschko go back and forth with someone in a real dogfight? You don't. And don't say it's because of his skill. It's because he's leaning, holding, pushing down on opponents, and referees going in and breaking up the action. You know, so those are my thoughts. So as an answer to Wladimir Klitschko, believing Wladimir Klitschko is going to stay on for another 10 years, God forbid, no, let's not have that. I don't think he is. I don't even believe that Wladimir Klitschko is the best heavyweight on the planet. I just believe that Wladimir Klitschko is in the eyes of everybody else at the moment. I would not be surprised, give it a year or two, that we actually get a fairer, better picture of who the real heavyweight champion of the world is. Wladimir Klitschko is holding on to the belts at the moment, but I don't see him as the best heavyweight in the world. Too many young fighters around now to say that, and he's not fighting the opposition, the sort of fighters to suggest that he is the best. So, controversial, yes. Hating, no. Pulling up valid points, yes. And for me, the heavyweight division is what everybody looks at in boxing. And this guy's making a mockery of the division with these fights. You know? Forget the fights, forget the belts, Wladimir, and actually fight for some pride. Fight to seal your legacy in boxing. Okay, I guess that's it. Well, my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Am I being a bit too harsh on Wladimir Klitschko? Or as a boxing fan, should I be expecting more? I'm out.